I've been thinking a lot about my early days in Constellation lately. Got me pretty nostalgic, and I started digging in some old things, just sort of reminiscing. I found some of Ervin's last messages to me and thought I'd listen to them again to hear his voice. It was surreal, honestly. So most of the messages were everyday things. Lots of excitedly written news about biodiversity and plant life. But one thing stood out. In one of his messages, he mentioned this job that he took at a mine shortly before he died. He said something terrible was happening there. But the message was garbled after that. True, but this was different. I recognized this pattern from the war. A portion of the message was encrypted. Well, Vasco helped me decipher it. Turns out the message was from Ervin, and he was begging me to help him. The message was short, but his voice was pained. He was so upset. He said they were going to destroy his life if he didn't leave the planet now. Then he asked me to help clear his name. Said they had a case against him. Oh, he sounded so upset. No, he was frustrated and angry. He said they were going to destroy his name. Yes. Hearing his voice in so much pain was very difficult. Oh, I wish I had noticed this message when he sent it. So in this message, Ervin said he was being framed. He said they'll do it again. He asked if Constellation could send more help. Not exactly sure, but he mentioned a court case. So I think there's a paper trail. No, I just thought it was garbled. I just wasn't paying attention. I don't know. His former employers had some job he took before he died. I think it was a mining company. It is, but I was thinking about it and, well, it's still wrong, right? So I figured, hey, I can do some sort of a remote investigation here, see what I can find out. There's gotta be a paper trail, right? Now, I happen to have a trustworthy contact who knows a bit about law and owes me a favor. I'd need to pay in advance in case there are any access fees or bribes. He knows how to navigate archived and redacted legal documents, so he'll look for anything to do with Ervin on Gagarin. If those documents are protected, he might have to pay to access them. Might need to grease some palms, too. That works. I'll tell them to go ahead with the investigation. You know, hearing Ervin's voice again made me want to help him, even though I know I can't. Does that make any sense? No, I know I can't. I just don't want whoever hurt him to get away with it, if that's what happened. I appreciate that. It's going to be hard to get some sleep tonight after all this. But the fact that I'm doing something about it might be enough to help. Hopefully poking around in old records doesn't catch the attention of Hephaestus. Well, anyway, I'll let you know if my contact finds anything. So I'm really enjoying our time together. Thought you should know. It's been a long time since I worked with someone so closely. I didn't realize how much I missed it. And you haven't stopped me from looking into this stuff with Ervin either. So, thank you. See, that's what makes you a good captain in my book. You're supportive. On that note, I do have some news about Ervin's case. So, I wanted to let you know that I heard back from my contact, and I think you'll want to hear this. They sent me a copy of some public records. It's interesting. There was a claim filed against Ervin, accusing him of damaging their investments. Looks like Ervin didn't even enter a plea. The Hephaestus Mining Corporation, and they also won the case. Some of Ervin's paychecks were seized, as well as any assets that weren't under joint ownership. Well, if it was Ervin, I do want to understand that, because I just can't believe it. Anyway, this mining corporation, Hephaestus, sued Ervin, claiming he irreparably damaged their mine. They said he killed the apex predators in the area around the mine, which led to herd creatures overeating the grasses. That caused the soils to release too many gases too fast, which cost Hephaestus a ton of money. They claim the creature he killed was a critical hive species that caused a cascade effect when they were killed off. Ervin killed the equivalent of a queen bee, and the whole hive collapsed, basically. The explanation is sound, but why would Ervin do that? He wouldn't. So anyway, according to the court documents, there was a witness for the defense, who was a no-show too. Then Hephaestus won by default. They tried to take his apartment, but because it's in my name too, they couldn't. I didn't know he bought it. Must have been a better deal than renting for the time he was there. They withdrew their testimony the morning of the trial. Said they had a sincere change of heart. Yes, they plan to stay in the same system for a while. That doesn't mean we can't do anything about it. And if nothing else, I just want to know more about what happened to Ervin. So here's what I was thinking. I can persuade my contact to keep digging a little bit more. I don't want to press our luck, so I'll just ask them to follow up on one thing. Should I tell them to investigate the company more, or look into the witness instead? I wonder what his real reason was for retracting his testimony. Did he report anything to security? I just want to know why they picked Ervin. Why did they set him up? For that much money? They'll do it. You know, this investigation is time-consuming, but it's also pretty cathartic. And who knows? Maybe if we solve this case, it'll mean a better future for Gagarin. But that's thinking too far ahead. Anyway, Captain, thanks for checking in with me. I'm not a fearful man, but I am just a man. And I'm keenly aware that this artifact could change my life. Or end it. On Bendy? No, wait. It was Kazal. I can feel Lynn's admonishing stare boring a hole in my back. She's not actually standing behind me, is she? Well, point is, my story's probably a lot like yours. We dug a pit, found some really wonky readings, and followed them to the artifact. I think it's pretty clear now there's a possible correlation between the visions and the powers. Of course, correlation isn't necessarily causation. Once is a fluke, twice is a coincidence, and so forth. But once I get back into academic mode, I'll be writing a paper that will suggest the connection is valid. Obfuscating the identities of the powered, of course, which means we all get code names. Fun, right? Well, when I picked it up, I had no idea what it was. I knew it was something spectacular, though. I saw a vision. Flashing lights, the whole shebang. Sure, like what? It's a difficult topic. For years I pretended like I was over it. But I'm not. I can't guarantee I can answer everything, but I want to try. Ervin was a botanist and a wonderful cook. He made the best dang food of my life. He only used plants, fungi, and algae, but he had a catalog of spices and flavors from many biomes. Truth be told, I'll eat whatever you put in front of me, but I still have vivid dreams of that spicy fungal stew. It was divine. Yes, he was one of the first people I met when I moved into the lodge. His room used to be full of plants. The humidity was hard to get used to. I'm sure he'd wonder why I was so sentimental all of a sudden. I bet he'd tell me to go visit Paradiso and relax, but who knows? Thanks for listening. Did you have any other personal questions, or was that it? How much time do you have? Just kidding. Let's see, where to start. I've been in Constellation for a long time. Aja and Sarah convinced me to join before the Colony War. Lost my husband during that damn war. Lost some other friends too. Anyway, I've been exploring planets with Constellation ever since then. Helps keep me busy. So I guess that's me in a nutshell. Yeah, Vasco is great for reminding me about schedules and protocols or engaging in data-focused conversation, you know? But if I tell him about how I found the first artifact, or how I escaped from the Crimson Fleet, or when I saved a stranded pilot from an island covered in hypnotic flowers, you know, he just isn't impressed. Not my thing. It's just not something that I need, and it never appealed to me. My grandma raised me for the most part. Lost a lot of family in the war. Not much left to speak of, really. Well, I joined in 2305. Aja brought me on. It was unlike anything I had ever been a part of before. When I joined Constellation, part of me was worried I wouldn't belong. I thought they'd all wear fancy suits and talk about business opportunities all day. I entered the lodge and I was immediately pulled into an intense debate about whether the Freestar Collective would really risk war with the United Colonies. They pulled me into the conversation and treated me as if I had always been there. I hope your experience was the same. Anyway, what else did you want to ask about? Well, Aja recruited me in 2305, so, you know, it's been a while. So, is there anything else you want to ask about? I used to work as a United Colonies physicist. I was so starry-eyed, thought I could change the universe. And you know what? I don't think I've changed a bit. Except my job is much better. Any other questions? Fair enough. There's a lot of history with this organization. I'm lucky to have been here this long. Anyway, I'm glad you're here right now because we have things to discuss about Ervin's case. I heard back from my contact. They looked into Hephaestus Mining Corporation. Looks like they paid off the judge. And that's not all. My contact really came through for us. Turns out the witness was threatened until he withdrew his testimony. And thanks to our contact, we now have the receipts. My contact has an audio log with the identity of the speaker verified, time-stamped, everything. Bank transactions. A precise amount was transferred to the judge only the day before the ruling. No, my contact does for now. I trust them. We worked together a long time ago. And it depends on what I want to do with all the proof. If anything. I tend to agree. It's interesting, but not enough to take it to a lawyer yet. So I know a cyber runner who has accessed corporate archives before. They can dig into the classified archives before we go to a lawyer. We can pay extra for them to use less legal methods to obtain information, but that adds risk. I don't know. I guess that's a good question for a lawyer. I appreciate that, Captain, but I'll take care of any fines or bribes that come up from this. You have always been so supportive of me during this process. Let me take care of this part. Depending on what they find out, it might be time to talk to a lawyer. I'll see if I can find one. Whew. Taking on Hephaestus isn't going to be easy. And I say this as someone who's fought the Crimson Fleet. Maybe I should study up on the art of cross-examination. Might come in handy at the trial. Objection, Your Honor. I think our lawyer in Gagarin is the right choice. And I win. Wait, does that mean I'm a good lawyer? I caught myself in a paradox, it seems. Anyway, let's go adventure while we wait on the cyber runner to get back to us. You know, traveling with you has been more than just good old-fashioned fun. It's been, well, therapeutic. Well, the fact is, you've had my back countless times already, and without you, I'd be exploring some random world alone, not realizing how much that bothered me. That's just a fact. Which brings me back to that plan I mentioned earlier. I think I know how to move forward now, but I'm going to need your help. My contact sent a gift. Yep, my friend from Neon, who has helped me out more times than I deserve. Nope. They were confident about not being detected, but not like too confident. Seems real to me. So they found an insurance settlement. Ervin's employers got paid as compensation for sabotage. Now, they claimed they had to ditch the whole mine and all the equipment inside and construct a new mine with new equipment. They were reimbursed for all of it. It seems that the mining company got a huge payout after they won the case against Ervin. We have the settlement paperwork from their insurance. Tons of money. Oh, also the cyber runner had to move on to other work, but sent me a passcode to some computer system. I'm not sure what it goes to yet. We can just hold on to it until we figure it out. But anyway, we have enough to move forward. The missing piece here is proving that Ervin was framed. So I discovered that Ervin's original lawyer still practices law, and she'll look over everything we found. Yes, I believe so. Every case she's worked on has been in the interest of regular, everyday people. She doesn't seem to be in this for the money. I mean, heck, she said she wouldn't even charge us for the initial consultation anyway. Ervin's case was her first case, she said. She always hated how it ended. And she's now got 2 decades of experience behind her for a rematch, too. Oh, detective. I like the sound of that. If I'm the detective, does that make you my trustworthy and sensible partner with a heart of gold? Well, I can work with that. Detective Barrett at your service. Anyway, we should take everything to the lawyer and see what she says. Maybe she reviews it and decides we have no case, or we need more evidence. I don't know. If we don't have a case, I can probably let it go. But I have to try. Oh, yep. I've got a key card for it. But I don't know what condition it's in. It's been 20 years, but I got the ventilation and power turned on, so I think it's safe. Yes, I've already arranged for my contact to drop off the evidence at our office. Fantastic. I knew I could count on you. You're as reliable as an atomic clock. I've sent a list of everything we found so far to the lawyer on Gagarin. You know, I actually feel optimistic about this. Lead the way, detective. Now I get why he wanted me to look after his plants. No windows, insufficient power for proper lamps. Wait a second. What about this safe? I bet it's locked by a terminal. Ervin didn't live here for long, but he certainly had a lot of junk here. I had no idea. Well, I'll be. If you ever doubted Ervin's genius, look at all this. Still chugging along 20 years later. Aha! Will you look at that? If we go to town hall, I bet we can get a copy of that hunting license. Gagarin has always been a bit of a pit in my stomach. I know it wasn't related to Ervin's death, but it happened right before he died, so the events were both emotionally linked to me. I was just thinking that this is about what Ervin saw all those years ago when he arrived. He probably stood here thinking that he was going to make things better. He had a good heart. Maybe not in its current form, but I'm sure Ervin painted a much different picture in his mind. I'm thinking something impressionist. Softer edges, more plants. I wonder if Ellie has any pictures of old Gagarin in her office. Only one way to find out, right? Ellie Yankton. She worked on Ervin's previous case. Ellie is one of the few lawyers on this planet who's willing to take on the mining corporations in court. I sent that to our lawyer already. I asked her to confidentially review what we found. Yes, but listen, nobody will stand up against the mining corporations around here. They're scared. She didn't want to lose the case, but she didn't have a lot to go on. Thanks to us, now she does. Right. She said she would meet us at our office when we arrive. Hopefully she can tell us what we need to do in order to clear Ervin's name. Let's stick together, though. Gagarin isn't a huge town, but it's not the kind of town that I want to get lost in.
Mech construction is a dead industry, Chief Pretorius. Those jobs aren't coming back. But Reliant Medical, Archmite, and Satori Mills are dedicated to Gagarin.
You've been busy, I hear.
We were just hoping
Clearing out
Gagarin
bad
could show the same thing here.
Most of these corporate clowns.
You ever read about the early history of spaceflight? So political. So familiar sometimes.
Well, well, well. Barrett, you're actually here. Astounding.
Ellie! Ellie, come on. I promised we'd stop by, didn't I?
People make promises all the time, Barrett. And most folks try to avoid Gagarin, not visit it. Anyway, I'm glad you made it out here. We have work to do, don't we? It's not a resort. It's a working town run by mining corporations. You don't come here unless you need to, and you don't stay unless you have to.
Or unless you're a bright-eyed, optimistic lawyer who genuinely wants to make things better for others. Right, Ellie?
You're kind, Barrett. Yes, I suppose there's that type of person as well. Yes. It was my first case as a bright-eyed, optimistic lawyer.
Well, starting your career with a defeat is rough, Ellie.
It was. But in a way, it made me more determined.
Is that Ervin's employment contract? Let me see. No idea where mine H363 is, but we could search for it at the Foundry database. All right, we've got some solid leads, it looks like. The employment contract and the hunting license at Town Hall. The more the merrier, unless you're Hephaestus. It was a bit strange going through Ervin's old things, though. I was hoping for some old pictures, but nothing. What's that you have there? A plant? No, but I did find a few slates that might give us a clue, as well as a reminder to finish a physics paper that I never did. Well, it looks like one of Ervin's experimental plants contained in an even more experimental habitat dish. Remarkable. Ervin always fancied himself an inventor as well as a botanist. Witchcraft, probably. But if you want a more scientific explanation, I have a couple of theories. It could go through states of hibernation, or draw moisture from the air the way epiphytic plants do. There's also that habitat dish Ervin set up for it, which gave it light and nutrients. Still, I'm not ruling out witchcraft. I'm not sure. It might not even be a plant. It might technically be a fungus. But there's probably a reason why Ervin tried his best to keep it alive. When we get back home, I'll go through some of his research notes. It might tell us something more about this plant. Hopefully it's not poisonous. No, maybe not. But it helps me. Ervin was the last person to handle this plant. It mattered to him. No matter how the case goes, this warms my heart. I didn't expect to find it, but I love that I did. In any event, I'll go through Ervin's notes in more detail later. There's probably a flowchart somewhere with this little guy's name on it. Oh, on that note, we should give it a name. I'm thinking something simple yet refined. What do you think of Harvey? Then it's unanimous. Okay, the three of us should get back to it. You, me, and Harvey have a case to solve. So, the hunting license was sponsored by Hephaestus after all. Emily will be very interested to see this.
You're back. Well, what did you uncover?
Thanks, Captain. We searched Ervin's apartment and found an application for a hunting license. Compelling, right?
It's not much. Practically zero. Is that all you found?
Well, we also have a copy of the actual license sponsored by Hephaestus, too. How about that?
That's solid evidence, but likely not enough to bring it to a judge.
Opening an old case is a higher burden of proof, I'm sure.
I didn't mean to leave you with that impression, no. That is incorrect. It helps the case. It shows bad faith on the part of Hephaestus since they claimed he was not hired to hunt for them. But that's just circumstantial. It may help when we argue for a settlement value, though. If we win. Okay, now that is a solid lead. Well, don't let me stop you while you're on a roll, detectives. We can talk more later.
Friend, I don't get paid to chit-chat about work. New here, huh? Well, you can access any paychecks at the computer once per pay cycle. Don't forget your passcode. You can also get the coordinates to your assigned mine there. Easy. Welcome to the team. We drink at Liz's. Look, I'm on my break here. Bother somebody else.
Not looking to disrupt your personal time. We're new here.
That information is confidential. I'd like to think so. I try to be. I'm not an unreasonable person, you know. I'm still willing to talk. I hear you. So listen, you can use my employee passcode to access that foundry terminal over there. I'll just say I lost it somewhere.
Impressive.
Next time I'm going to take a nap on top of a building. Nobody ever looks up there.
Coordinates look valid to me. Imagine Ervin thinking the same thing all those years ago. Just a job, right? Well, at least we know where to keep looking, right? Essentially any documentation that screams, Ervin isn't guilty, we made it up. This is what we do. We're explorers, adventurers. But yeah, other than that, it's my fight. I don't want to get anyone else involved. I guess we'll see what state the mine is in. It's possible they collapsed it before they left. We just won't know until we get there. If that's the case, we'll just have to figure something out.
Careful. This place was shuttered 8 years ago. Might have new tenants now.
administration. All right. Let's go find Ervin and Helgi's lab station. Good at navigating these systems. It was the destruction of the bacterial colonies, not the apex predators. So, they ruined the ecosystem here, and it had nothing to do with Ervin. Seems like Helgi tried to do the right thing. Back to the war, and had basically just ignored them. Ellie! Hello?
Welcome back, detectives.
Ellie, I sent you all the data from the mine already. As I'm sure you know.
Welcome back, you two. How was the trip to the mine?
You're gonna love this, Ellie.
Basically, or at least aggressively negligent. What you both found in that mine is remarkable. These documents show that the chemicals released by the mining process contaminated the ecology even before Ervin was tasked with removing the predators. And they also show that Helgi informed Hephaestus of the issue, and it was repeatedly ignored. And with that, I think we've got ourselves a case, my friends.
Yes! That's what I wanted to hear, Ellie. Woo!
Yes, but it's still likely to lose. Because what we really need now is Helgi as our witness, and that is a problem. Helgi isn't an ideal witness at all. He was our star witness the first time, and he never showed up. Plus, he's got a reputation around town. After he quit, he went a bit weird.
I can handle a bit weird. I know the captain can too.
Clearly. But the judge might feel differently. It might be worth finding some character witnesses too while you're looking for him. I'm glad you're taking it in stride. It's just, for a case with this much science, we need the man who wrote the claims to back them up. Maybe even explain it in layman's terms. That's also a bit tricky. He's hard to find. Doesn't really stay in one place for long. We could, but I think we'd lose the case, bluntly. We can verify these documents are real, but Hephaestus can counter by attacking Helgi's character. They'll label him a disgruntled employee and then find a dozen independent scientists to confirm Ervin was at fault. But with Helgi in court, he can explain the science and help me challenge any countering theories during cross-examination. You might ask Dr. Kayala. She checks up on folks who fall through the cracks sometimes. You'd have to convince her to tell you where he is. That might be hard.
Sounds like we're making a stop at the med clinic. We'll be back when we convince Helgi to be a witness.
Listen, if he refuses, then he refuses. Can't force him.
Yeah, we don't want to press him too hard. The last thing we need is him refuting what he wrote. This is going to take a light touch, but I think we can handle it.
We're not supposed to leave the canyon. It's too dangerous.
Do you need medical assistance? Are you injured? Is there something I can help you two with?
Do you happen to know Dr. Helgi Hodgson? We're trying to get his help with something.
Sorry, who are you exactly?
We're detectives. Self-taught and unaffiliated. Freelance detectives. With the emphasis on the free part.
Wait, what? Detectives? Sorry, I don't think I know what you're talking about. No, not really. I mean, there's Ervin the Slaughterer and Ervin the Scourge of Gagarin, but I doubt that's the same person, right? I treat anyone who walks in my doors, if I'm able to. I'm sorry, I'm not a tour guide. You'll have to ask somebody else.
We're trying to help him. And Gagarin, actually.
Only every single time I see him. But listen, I don't have time to chat. Ellie's a good person. That bodes well, but I can't violate my oaths. I'm sorry. Listen, I can say that Helgi took up a job working at Clint's store just down the way. I saw him there stacking boxes the last time I picked up an order. I've got to get back to my work here, so if there's nothing else... I need to get back to my work now, if you don't mind.
Welcome to Clint's. Whatever you need, I'm sure I've got it lying around somewhere. Except mech parts. Don't trade those anymore, so don't waste your time asking. Well, for one, it's illegal in UC space. Making mech platforms used to be Gagarin's bread and butter. So, since they were banned in the armistice, I get 1 to 2 folks a month asking what kind of relics I might have lying around. But I'm not about to risk a contraband fine at my age, so that's why I just lay it out up front. If you need anything, just follow the sound of falling inventory. You'll find me eventually.
Funny you ask, because I'd like to know too. He owes me a sizable debt. Enough that he's no longer allowed in my store. I don't like denying service to anyone, but it's the principle of the matter. I've seen him around, but never in one place, except when he needs money. I offered him a job, but he showed up to work drunk one day and I had to let him go. I don't have any ill will toward him. Sure, the credits I'd like to have back, but only because it'll mean he's gotten his life together. Nobody is going to know where he is aside from someone who knows the underbelly of Gagarin. And that is Lizzie up at the bar. That's who you need to ask.
Gagarin. It was a military town until the end of the Colony War. Mechs were our specialty. Everyone always blabbers about Mars making the highest performance machines. But if you needed a system that wouldn't let you down in a pinch, you piloted a Gagarin. But that all dried up when the mechs were banned with the armistice. Now, we've got these new firms coming in. Arcmite, Centauri Mills. Claim they're here to revitalize the city. Which is funny, since their employees refuse to step foot in most of it.
You sure you got the right person? Helgi and I have had several run-ins in the past. For me, yes. But there's a lot of water.
We just need someone to serve as his character witness, given your long-standing reputation in the city.
Sure, I can say a few words. I like Helgi, but fair warning, I'm not gonna lie for him. If I'm testifying under oath, it'll be full of the good and the bad.
Wouldn't expect anything less.
You heard the news. Terramorphs in the UC capital. I know I needed a drink after I heard it. Looking for a drink? Don't serve anything fancy, so if you're about to ask for wine spritzer or whatever, you can hop right back on your ship to New Atlantis. Not as a rule, no. Just the ones that come to Gagarin and want to change it. And those folks usually ask for disgusting, overly complicated drinks. You one of them? Well, then make yourself comfortable. And don't start anything, all right? Ah, yes. The detectives. I heard about you.
A reputation already? I'm impressed.
Slow news day, I guess. I serve drinks here, friend.
We were told that you are a local crime.
We serve drinks here. Here's a list of our specials for today.
There's nothing on here.
Oh, that's strange. Here, let me fix that. Don't worry, it's just the one sale today.
Oh, right. Of course, it's a number. Here you go, Captain. All yours.
Thanks for your patronage. Sending your receipt directly to you now. We'll be sure to leave a glowing review for your establishment. Don't worry. Bunch of corporate marionettes moving in, setting up shop. They think we're just a bunch of cheap factories and dumb labor that'll leap at whatever scraps they toss us. But Gagarins are tough by default. We've got exactly zero need of corporate condescension. Sure do. I came into some money right around the time the war ended. Places were selling for nothing. Every person with credits was flying to New Atlantis. I got this place for a wink and a nod. have been slinging drinks the way I like 'em ever since. Don't cook yourself out there.
I don't suppose you're here to tell me I've won a ticket to a new planet, huh?
Sorry, Doctor. Not today. We came to Gagarin to investigate Ervin Mandani's contract with the mining company a long time ago. Ring any bells?
Ervin, yeah. Biologist. Hunter. Yeah, I remember him. Why? Who are you people? Well, I'm a fella who needs a drink. I guess we all don't get what we want in this world, do we?
Please. Ervin was once one of your colleagues. He was the one Hephaestus blamed for an ecological disaster about 20 years ago. Do you remember any of that?
No, I don't remember lies. Well, you're about 20 years too late.
Look, I know this is strange. We show up out of the blue about things that happened decades ago. But right now, nobody save us knows the truth. And that means we're the only ones who can clear Ervin's name.
And what of it? You probably think the sky is blue too. Well, you'd be wrong. It's whatever color Hephaestus says it is.
Only if you let them. You're a scientist. Your words matter. That's why we need you to testify.
Testify? The trial is over, the verdict rendered. In case you two clowns didn't get the memo. Ellie Yankton? But why? It doesn't matter. Nothing's changed. I remember not to talk with people who come asking questions about powerful corporations. Believe it or not, I don't need or want your money. I made enough of it by working for massive mining corporations. I don't need to risk anything else. Because I tried before, and they threatened me. 20 years ago. I still wake up in fear almost every night. They said if I ever left Gagarin, I left my wife to protect her. She didn't deserve any of this. Any of my mess. I cannot do that. Why is this so hard to understand here? She shouldn't have told you that. What I tell her is my business. What's right has got nothing to do with it. You might be right about that. I've got nothing to lose. I hear you, but it doesn't change anything. Here's my thought. The case you have is the same as before. There is no guarantee you will win. And I don't want to get myself killed over a verdict that won't actually change anything. So no, I won't testify for you. Count me out of your plans.
Okay, we get it. You don't have to testify. But if I could ask for one favor, Ellie could use some help with the defense. Any information you can give her. Records, proofs, things to help lay out the science.
Fine. I can do that. I can get her in touch with a colleague. Someone who can verify whatever evidence you've got. Miss Yankton can even call them as a witness. Might even help your case. You'll have an expert reading my notes, and not a drunk.
Thank you, Doctor.
Yeah, don't get all mushy on me now. I need a drink.
Watch your step. It's easy to take a sudden trip around here.
It's a shame we couldn't convince Helge to testify. But at least we'll have someone who can back up his word.
Okay, you two, lay it on me. Did you find Helge? Did he agree to testify?
Well, we've got good news and bad news. Which do you want first?
Ugh, I hate this game. Just give me the bad news first.
The bad news. Helge declined to be our witness. But the good news is he's going to refer a colleague to testify on his behalf. That means confirming the scientific veracity of every document we've gathered, and challenging any ringers the defense hires to dispute it.
Well, at least we don't have to worry about any character assassination. And having an independent party examine the data isn't the worst idea either. I'm going to view this as a win. Well, you two have done all that you could. Now it's time to hand the baton off to me.
What do you think, Ellie? Do we have a chance?
You've done a pretty decent job gathering evidence for this case.
So what's the verdict? In this case, I'd say spoilers are appreciated.
I am cautiously optimistic we can win this case.
Optimism is good, especially from you, Ellie.
The main thing is we'll be able to clear Ervin's name. Of that, I have no doubt. As for charging Hephaestus with a crime and clearing Helge, that's more of an uphill battle, but I'll see what I can do. All in all, though, really outstanding work. We wouldn't have gotten this far without your efforts. And I've got to imagine that wherever Ervin is, he appreciates it too.
Agreed, Ellie. And thanks for being our anchor in this. Wow, we actually did it! Solved the case, and hopefully cleared Ervin's name. I feel like, what's the old saying? A great weight has been lifted off my shoulders? But it's actually true. I feel like I'm 80% biomass and 20% aerogel. Thanks. I was trying not to be too optimistic about our chances, because that's when a cosmic reversal kicks in. But I think it's okay in this case. We've already proven Ervin's innocence, and I trust Ellie to explain it. Ellie would know better than I, but I doubt it'll be anytime soon. These things tend to involve a lot of red tape. It's a special kind of adhesive that makes you stick to old filing cabinets and manila envelopes. I hope so. It's always a tug-of-war between the workers and the mining corps. But there's one thing we've got in our favor. There's more of us than there are of them. All it takes is for the people to realize it. Yeah, I don't know if they've ever done studies on emotional weight, but I feel like I just lifted a comet. And not one of the smaller ones either. I'm talking about the kind you can see without a visual aid. But if I can be serious for a moment, thank you. I couldn't have done this without your help. That makes two of us. Three if you count Harvey, and who wouldn't? He's practically family. In fact, Harvey's got a little explorer in him too. According to this slate I found, turns out that our spiky friend's been all across the galaxy. You know what? He just might. But it's probably best you chart the course. Harvey doesn't do well with things that require hands. We've been through a lot, haven't we? I had forgotten what it was like to work with someone so closely. On top of everything else we've done together and with Constellation, yeah, I think so. Investigating Ervin's case with you is something I'll remember forever. I've come to realize that some events, some people, stand out as pillars of my life. Is it? Well, I guess it is. You noticed that, huh? I suppose I should just keep going and get it all out of my system. It'll do me some good. We only get a brief moment in this universe to interact, to feel, to be who we are and experience the range of emotions that our bodies and minds have evolved to comprehend. And the definition of that changes for everybody. If one is fortunate, you might even notice events and people changing you while it is in motion. Like any group, Constellation is only capable of doing that because of the people within it. I've explored many worlds, and I've worked with Constellation for most of my life. I cherish those memories. But you have changed me as a person forever. I don't want to look back years from now and wonder what if. I need to know what you think about us. Here we are, the most fortunate people in the galaxy, because we get to explore it all together as friends.